What's up, Freestar Rangers? I am one of your hosts, Phoenix.
And I am your other host, Titan.
And welcome to NTAT. First off, we want to thank everyone for supporting the channel, and please, if you took the time to click on this video, take a second to hit that like button and subscribe. We've put around about 70 hours into the game and we are absolutely loving it. As far as NTAT, we will be playing this game from years to come. With that said, we do have some things about the game that kind of irk the hell out of us.
Yeah, like any game, obviously this one has its small little issues that irk us, but this game is by far one of my favorite games of all times.
Alright, let me kick this off. I'm going to start with the local map. Guess what? It's non-existent. At first, I tried to justify this by stating Elden Ring had a very similar map when you first started the game. But after about 5 hours, I couldn't justify it because at least Elden Ring, you could find map pieces and mark the map with pins depending on what you needed to find. Starfield was like, hold my beer. Not only can you not see anything of consequence on the map, but once you do locate a point of interest, you can't mark it. So you better take pictures, draw a map, hell, use a satellite so you know where you're going to each city. This drives me crazy.
The lack of variety in weapons has gotten really frustrating to me. You find the same guns on pretty much every enemy, and it's the Grendel to be specific. And the lack of variety has made looking for weapons not really worth it to me. Considering they usually are worse than what I have equipped, buying weapons has become the better option for me. But after buying all the weapons to complete my set, again, I feel that there is no loot worth the extra weight. Modding is a good way to improve your weapon, but unless you resource gather and spend skill points for weapon modifications, you're really not gaining a whole lot.
Alright, so storage is going to be my next complaint, especially when it comes to resources, which can weigh you down quickly. There are a couple of things to point out. You can increase your weight carrying capacity via the perk system. You can increase your ship's storage by adding storage to your ship or getting a new ship with higher capacity. There are also boxes like the one in the basement of the lodge that have unlimited space. The issue is these systems must be discovered and do you no good until you have the ability to use them. Unlike most, I don't have a problem with the Encumbered system. I don't mind watching my weight with weapons and armor pickup. But the resources weigh a lot and will have you and your ship over encumbered, forcing you to put points in the skill tree and building onto your ship even if that was not your original intent. If you don't store resources on your character or on your ship when you get ready to use them, then you will have to go all the way to the place you do have them stored, load them onto your character, more likely encumbered, and then travel, you can't fast travel at that point, to your ship, then travel to the area that you want to build, which is way too much.
I know you said that being over encumbered wasn't a problem for you, but weight has become a nuance to me. Whether I'm trying to mine for resources, which is the biggest problem when it comes to weight, or looting spacesuits, I find myself over encumbered too often. My weightlifting skill is maxed out and I'm using my companion's weight as well. And I still find myself in the position while doing quests that I get over encumbered and I have no other option but to drop items. And this makes me really go out of my way not to mine or pick up miscellaneous sellable items. Like I said earlier, when it comes to weapon modifications and base building, gathering resources can become a chore when you're trying to gather resources you need, but you're always becoming over encumbered.
Travel is going to be my number 3, but specifically empty planets. I don't mind planets being resource rich and empty, it kind of adds to the immersion of the game. But if this was your design plan, you need to give us at least a small Land Rover because the points of interest on these types of planets are thousands of kilometers apart. This is fun for maybe the first 3 times or so, but then it gets real old real quick. I have never ever wanted a land vehicle in the Bethesda game, but this is a different type of game, and I feel at least a small vehicle is necessary when spaces are so wide open.
And this was something we actually talked about before the release date, is we wasn't really concerned about that, but then after playing the game, you see that it does kind of feel necessary to have at least, like you said, a small one at minimum.
I agree, and the funny part about it is that I think we responded to a comment that we said, you know what, we might get in the game and feel like we need them. And guess what? We do.
Alright, so the third one I want to talk about is the inability to refund skills. This is a huge negative for me. I'd love to be able to test a skill to see if it's useful or not, and get rid of it if I don't need it. This is a personal thing, and a lot of other players will disagree with my take, but this forces you to really think deeply about who you want your character to be. The only issue is that things are locked behind skills and it's hard to really put points where you want them to be, but I do enjoy the challenges to unlock the next skill, but it can be daunting when you level up and you still haven't completed the challenge for your skill that you really want to use.
Alright, for me, more time in space. Fast travel isn't really the issue here. It was the design choice to make planets to scale. So a YouTuber who traveled to Pluto took 7 real-world hours and months in-game to get there. This is really cool, but a novelty at best. In reality, what we would have preferred was to have the ability to fly from one planet to another with active ships, derelict ships, and space stations in between to explore. My first couple of weapon drops was a rifle and a pistol with the perks that gave me plus 15 damage in space and negative 10% damage on a planet. Well, in my 70 hours of play, I've spent around 90% of my time on planets. There are ships to capture and space stations to board, but you have to go out of your way for it, or hope that a story or faction mission sends you there.
And this was actually another thing that we talked about before the game released, is that space would feel empty. You know, we were worried about that, and it kind of does. I've had some really fun experiences, but everything happens right after you grab drive. After that, space is pretty much dead. Like you said, there are some space stations that you can land on, but it's usually either a story or a quest that sends you there. Okay, my last complaint is really a silly one, I get that, but while playing I often have a moment where I stop and really just enjoy the view. Starfield is not shy on beautiful scenery, in every way except water. The water is absolutely trash in every way. I get that Bethesda is not known for great oceans and diving in water, but the game of this quality deserves more than they gave. It's such a minor thing to complain about, but it really is distracting and disappointing. But it doesn't hurt from anything else, so I guess I'll just look at the ugly water.
Even with all our dislikes, we love this game, and we will continue playing and making content for it. Next week's video, we'll go over our favorite things about the game.
So if you're loving Starfield like we are, and you enjoy this kind of content, don't forget to smash that like button and subscribe if you haven't already, and turn on notifications so you never miss a video. Don't forget, join us every Friday morning. We'll be there.
You be there.